So, I want to talk about this Prismatic Evolutions ETB reprint. So, we all heard, originally, that this was a reprint, like an actual reprint. And we all know, I guess, the YouTuber we got the information from that they called it a reprint. Now, in this whole space, reprint, restocks, they sometimes get mixed up. Obviously, they're different. And the biggest way people determine whether it's a reprint or a restock is by the label on the cases. Because if you guys didn't know, on the cases, it shows not for retail sale before a date if it's the first print. Because you think about it, they make it for the I guess first or for the release day, and on the label it will show that you're not supposed to sell it before the actual release date. So that means it's the first wave. And if it's a reprint and it's actual reprint, they don't have this sticker because the set's already out, and they don't need to have that on the label. And you will see that if you search up any booster box case, you may notice some of them have this not for retail sales a sticker or label on the case, and some don't have it. It doesn't mean one is fake or anything. It just means that if it doesn't have this, it's just reprinted. And recently, there's been multiple sources talking about this reprint not really being a reprint, and there's some evidence to show that it's not a reprint, and it most likely just stock from the first wave. Because as you can see here, first from this photo, this is from a seller on eBay, pretty big seller, selling some cases of the Prismatic ETBs. And if you look at the case here that they have, you can see it says not for retail sale before January 17th, 2025, which means this is not a reprint because it wouldn't have this here. It is from the first wave. So this wasn't even a reprint. Now, honestly, I was already sort of skeptical that this was a, said to be a reprint, because if you think about it, I've talked about it before, why would Pokemon reprint the ETBs? Like, out of all the products they could have reprinted, why do this one? It doesn't make a lot of sense in terms of, getting packs out into the market to try to decrease prices. But there, was some sort of, evidence or some sort of data that could back up why they would reprint maybe the ETBs, possibly because of the statement they made previously that they're going to reprint into maximum capacity. Maybe they're just reprinting all the products. Maybe, they just decided to reprint the ETB and maybe they're going to reprint more stuff. You can make the argument. So I was like, okay, maybe they're just changing things up because they said they're going to print more, and maybe they just did the ETBs, even if it's not the most efficient thing. Maybe they just reprinted them. But this sort of confirms that no, this was not a reprint. This is just part of the first wave. Now, what does this mean for the potential reprints of Prismatic Evolutions? Because since technically this is not a reprint, Prismatic Evolutions hasn't gotten reprinted yet. At least none have come to the market. So I'm not exactly sure where this information of this actual 100% confirmed reprint came from, because obviously the YouTuber that talked about this information, I don't think he has anything to lie about. It wouldn't really matter for him to lie about it, because eventually people, I guess, will find out what it is. So I don't think he has any reason to lie. It just make him obviously look bad at the end of the day when people find out if it is or not. So I don't know where the reprint thing came from, because he specifically stated that it was 100% like a confirmed reprint, like actual reprint. That's what he said. But according to the label, which is how people determine what a reprint is or not, it's not a reprint. So when will we be getting reprints of Prismatic? Because this is not. Who knows? It honestly could come soon, because Prismatic now at this point is 3 months old. Pokemon made the statement around like 3 months ago. It's possible maybe we're gonna get actual reprints soon, but we have no way of telling, because obviously sometimes these news and reprints and all these sorts of things can be very just short notice. But as far as like what currently we have with Prismatic in terms of reprints, there's none, because this was just sort of, you could say, a restock, a resupply or whatever into the market. But still, the resupply, restock, whatever, it has done something to the market. It has decreased prices, and it was a decent amount according to a lot of sources. So, knowing though that it's not a reprint could change your mind about a few things, because I made videos talking about how like 151, for example, got reprinted like once early on, and that was sort of it. Well, technically, that reprint has not come yet. So, it's possible the ETBs may still get reprinted because this isn't a reprint. Because let's say this was a reprint, you could argue that they may not reprint this again. They may reprint maybe booster bundles or something. But since that's not the case, maybe they reprint, the ETBs again. But honestly, this still, regardless of it not being a reprint, still a great buying opportunity. Even if they do reprint the ETBs once again, you have to think about this factor. When they reprint it, how long is it going to be? What prices of these ETBs, what are they going to be at that current time? And you think the distributors are not going to upcharge? I mean, even for this restock, distributors still upcharge all these stores, still above wholesale pricing, obviously. So just think about that factor. If you think, let's say, you think they're still going to reprint this, whatever, sure. But what's the price of the ETB at that time? Is it going to be 150, 200? And you don't think distributors are going to mark it up. So, and how much will they reprint? Some things to think about, but it is interesting to know that this wasn't actually a reprint because everybody was calling it a reprint. We got information from reputable sources that it was, but it turns out it was not. But like I said, still shouldn't change your mind if you want Prismatic. This is still a good buying opportunity. So there's this seller. This is like one of the cheapest listings I could find on eBay. You can see here, and I'm pretty sure they double box. You can check the description, and I think they double box cases, but you can check for yourself. But $1,300, honestly, not too bad. You can buy individual boxes for a little bit less, but if you want the case, here it is, $1,300. You can probably find some deals some other place, but this is one of the cheaper ones from a reputable place that I was able to find, and I'm pretty sure they double box. Now, if you just want to go on TCG Player to look at the prices for the Prismatic ETBs from this restock, you can see there's been a drastic amount of sales for this Prismatic ETB since it's gone restock and prices have dipped. You can see here, when prices dropped from like 135 to 122, which think about it, that's like a 10% discount. Look at the drastic increase of sales from literally a 10% drop, a 10% discount. Almost more than double, like even in some cases triple the amount of sales on average on this one day. I guess you can see average sales 62 in the past month. That's like almost quadruple from a $13 discount. It shows something about the product in the set. People are taking this small discount as a great opportunity, and it's something that I've talked about. I made a video saying smart investors are buying these Prismatic ETBs on this reprint, or now it's not a reprint, it's a restock. And you can laugh at me. You can be like, it's going to get reprinted more. It's going to go to MSRP. You can say all that stuff. In a couple of years, we'll see what the price is at. But I can almost guarantee you, in 2 years from now, this is not going to be 125. And most likely, during this time frame, it's probably never going to get close to MSRP. But hey, if you want to hold on to the hope that it will, then don't buy. Keep waiting. Just keep waiting. Wait for it to go to MSRP, because a set that has a total set value of almost $8,000, it's totally going to go to MSRP. It makes logical sense. It makes sense on paper, right? The numbers lines up. You can definitely pull a $1,400 card from a pack that's worth $5. That definitely makes sense, right? Obviously, being sarcastic if you couldn't tell, because some people, if you just think about the idea of that happening, like, it sounds crazy. Obviously, card prices can drop, but even if this set drops in value by half, which would be crazy, the set value would still be really expensive. It'd be almost still $4,000. So MSRP still would be very cheap comparatively. So yeah, but prices have dropped, and I think even this $13 drop, seeing the increase in sales like this, tells me that okay, this restock, I don't know how long prices are going to be at this level, because people have gotten their allocations, stores are listing them. I don't know how long this is going to last for, but just looking at the sales volume from this one day, I don't think it's going to last that long. You don't know when it's all going to sell out on the market, and then things are just going to go back up. So if you can find local deals anywhere, anything like that, I would take advantage. Now, when you look at listings and you see the amount of boxes, for under what it was before, around 135, 140, there's a decent amount. You can see here on this first page of the lot, on the second page, not that much, but there are some sellers that have a ton. Like, I don't know how they have that many, but still, we go back quickly up to 135. You go into the next page, and you can see we go back up to 140. So there are some sellers that have a decent amount of quantity, so it might not be overnight. People will continue to list, but you don't want to have to, wait a few days and then have to pay an extra $10 more per ETB just because you waited. For me, if you're gonna buy it, I think it'd just be smart to buy now. If you can find a good deal, 120, a little bit under that, that's like an instant buy. Because things are just selling so quickly from this small discount. Now, if you want to buy Case on TCG Player, it's basically the exact same price as I showed you from that eBay listing. I don't know if these sellers, obviously double box. There's a couple of them for around 1,300, and then it goes up to 14. So I would buy on eBay. Any of those sellers that double box, they sometimes say in the description. I would probably buy from them, or you can try to buy locally if you can find any near you. So just want to talk about this, reprint, which it wasn't. It's a restock, and I guess how, though there was some misinformation, I don't think intentionally by the YouTuber, because they have nothing to lie about, but there was misinformation spread that this was a reprint, because it's not, according to the label, I guess, sort of thing, where if it says, if it has, the not for resale thing, it's a, first wave, and it doesn't have it, then it's a reprint. So that's all I want to talk about. Hope you guys enjoyed, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one.